Hey y'all, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And today's video I am super excited to be sharing with you guys because we're going to be talking about the new, well, it was new a couple weeks ago. At this point, I think they've released 10 or 20 more palettes after that, but the new Star Wars and Colourpop Mandalorian palette. This launched, I'm pretty sure I was one of the last people to finally receive it that ordered on launch day. I ordered it a little bit late. I didn't think I was that late, but I ordered it a little bit late and I just got it a couple days ago, like the beginning of this week. So it is here and I don't know if you guys want another video, but I did ask and everyone was like, yeah, still do a video because I'm going to be comparing this palette against a bunch of other palettes in my collection. They are going to be doing a restock right after Thanksgiving, so I'm going to try to have this video up before that. I'll put on the date here when the restock is happening, but if you're on the fence and not sure if you wanted to grab it when it does restock, maybe this video showing you guys it swatched besides a bunch of other palettes might help you decide if you need it for the color story. Now if you want it for the packaging, like that's totally understandable, not gonna lie, I thought it was very cute, but I was getting it mostly for the inside because I really do like this color story and I was very curious. It's been a while since I tried Colourpop's formulas, so that's the main reason I picked it up. But if you are not like me and not crazy like me and feel like you have to have every green themed type of palette out there, maybe you have one of these other palettes that we're going to swatch that's close enough and you can save some money. So that's going to be what we're going to do in today's video. And also at the end, I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bonus tutorial. I'm going to share with you guys this eye look at the very end of the video. So if you're not interested in that, you don't have to watch it, but I'll put it at the end for those who do. But yeah, let's go ahead and do my Instagram shout out for today and then we can get right into it. Alright, today's shout out goes to Dolly Mama Beauty. She left a comment on my most recent post, so thank you so very much, Amy. She is so very sweet, leaves me the kindest comments. She is a YouTuber. I will have her channel linked, like I'll tag her name down below if you want to go check her out. We have been friends for a while. We've collabed with videos in the past, so Amy, I really do appreciate you taking the time to comment on my post. It really does mean a lot. And yeah, you are my Instagram shout out for today. So yeah, I don't really know what to say afterwards because I'm trying to transition to make it shorter. So once I finish it, I'm like, okay, now what do I do? But we can just go ahead and jump right into it. Oh, real quick, I did want to say I'm wearing this necklace. I know you guys can't see it, but it's super duper pretty. It was sent by a subscriber, Jennifer. Thank you so very much. It's so very beautiful. I love these types of really long necklaces with little, what are these called? Pendants at the end. I sometimes can think of words. But anyway, thank you so very much. Just want to give you a little shout out. It is so very beautiful and I will think of you very fondly every time I wear it. But yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and just jump right into talking about the Mandalorian palette from Colourpop in collaboration with Star Wars. Okay, so first off, we need to swatch this palette. I'm going to swatch it as best I can. We'll do it on this side, and then that way I can swatch beside it all the other palettes that I think are comparable to this. If you've never seen it before, I've done it with one other palette, I think the Dose of Colors palette. Okay, so the very first palette I thought of when I first saw this color story was the OFRA Cosmetics Empowered palette, mostly because I had just used it not too long ago. But here it is right here, and if you look at them side by side, I just feel like, yeah, there's a lot in there that I think is pretty darn similar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch them and I'm going to try to stick colors in the competing palette next to what I think it's similar to in this palette instead of just swatching them all, you know, in a row, if that makes sense. I'm going to kind of group them together just so it's easier to see. I don't even know if this purple one that I just swatched really has a dupe, but I'm going to put it next to up here because I definitely think these two give that similar vibe of, it's not really green, it's more of an off color. Green here, definitely a different color shimmer. And then the highlighter shade I'm going to stick up here next to the highlighter type shade in the Colourpop one. And then what did I do? The brown. And then the brown I'm going to stick right here. Whoops, I grabbed way too much. And so let's put it right here. So yeah, it definitely doesn't dupe all the shades, obviously, because there's not that many, but I hope you guys can, be able to see the similarities and differences. Swatching them out side by side, really the only similarity I feel like is the vibe of these two shades, or these three, because I do feel like they're a little bit, you know, they're not dupes for sure, they're not that exact, but they give that same vibe, and so the look is going to have that same feel to it. But you know, when we're talking about the other shades and then all of the missing one, and even this bright green, there really isn't that type of bright green in the Mandalorian palette. But yeah, there they are. So let me try and remove these carefully and we can swatch another palette. Okay, I did my best to remove it. It's a little bit smeared down there. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Can't really be helped. But let's go ahead and move on to the next palette, which, let me see, I have a lot up here that I'm wanting to compare, so let's just jump in it. This is the e.l.f. Bite Size Hot Jalapeno palette that I was really curious to try it out against. There's a lot more depth and just intensity in the Hot Jalapeno, and this is just soft and washed out, which is a typical Colourpop. They're scared of color. and they're called Colourpop. Okay, we have a dark green. Then we have more of a true green. I'm gonna go ahead and stick here because it is matte. Hope you guys can see this well enough. And then we have a green, which I don't feel like they have it. I'm gonna kind of stick it out here to hopefully make cleanup easier since I don't think they're that similar. And then last up, we have a gold, which there is no gold. So these two really, I'm just gonna stick it there. I guess I could have put it down there. There is a gold there, I forgot. But there's that. I'm so sorry. I should have stuck it down there. They're still not close, but at least it would have been somewhat in the same ballpark instead of up there with shades that are absolutely not similar. When we're talking about the darker shades, yeah, the hot jalapeno one is just a more intense, better version in my opinion than the Colourpop one. The Colourpop is just very toned down, very soft, and if you're looking for that sort of thing, then the Colourpop would be the way to go. But if you like intensity and just pigment and depth in your looks, then I would say the hot jalapeno, because there's definitely a lot of softness, and like my look today is very soft compared to what I would typically go with these type of colors. Next, I'm going to compare the Dose of Colors Cutting Edge palette. Here they are kind of side by side. Again, I feel like the Dose of Colors just has so much depth, but I do want to swatch them and compare what I can, and just to see. It doesn't really have a color to go with it, but I'm going to put it here because it's kind of like those greens, even though, yeah, it's kind of not. And then we have the gold shade I'm going to stick here, kind of in the same realm, near-ish that gold. Then we have this more terracotta, I guess is the color, terracotta brown. I hope you guys can see that. I need to make sure I'm giving you guys a good look before I take this off. And then we have the shimmer, which there isn't a dark shimmer in the palette, in my opinion. The dark shades are all matte, which I do like to see in a palette. I'm not mad at that, but just stating a fact. Okay, and then here is the matte green from the Dose of Colors. So there it is. The vibe, the kind of feel of the palette, sure, I think is very similar. But when we're talking about like dead on, I don't really think so. But again, I think you could create a look with the Dose if you went very softly that I think would give you the same vibe and feel as the Colourpop. So that's why I wanted to swatch it. Okay, next is from I Heart Revolution. This is the Heartbreaker palette in Lucky. This palette right here, I didn't really think of it initially, but when I was going through my collection today to double check I wasn't forgetting anything, I decided to throw this in there because there are a few shades. Okay, this first shade, I definitely thought of this shade. The I Heart Revolution is a lot more minty. And then the brown, I thought of this shade. Now the shimmer greens, I really don't feel like there is any similar one, so I'm just gonna stick it here. Okay, this one I'm gonna stick up here on this bony part of my wrist. Then the dark green made me think of down here. Doesn't swatch the best. And then this dark green, I'll just stick it here. There's nothing, this dark green shimmer in the Colourpop. Okay, so I'm gonna first swatch this shade, which I think is the most similar, which is right there. So I'm gonna put it right here. And those two are pretty darn close. You can see that. And then I'm just gonna stick the yellow up here. And then we'll put the green right there. So there is the Colourpop Lucky, or no, Heartbreaker Lucky palette compared to the Colourpop Mandalorian palette. Okay, shaking off the arm. Let's go ahead and go to the next one, which I wanted to do the, let's see, the Fenty palette. Fenty 10, someone told me this has a name. 10 Money is what it's called. Didn't realize that before, but I want to swatch this next to it and just see how similar the colors are in here. So I'm going to start here and go that way. Why? I don't know. There isn't really a gold, but I'm going to stick it here because it's kind of close to that color. Dark green shimmer. Don't really have that either, but I'm going to stick it here. Then we have a brown. We do have that. I'm going to stick it up here with this other brown because I feel like that's kind of the tone, the vibe that it was going for in this palette, or at least it's what I think of. Kind of similar, even though it's a lot darker of a browns. Okay, the other matte green I'm going to stick right here. Ooh, that's like a nicer version of that one. And then we have this shade, which I think is like this. And then last, I'm just going to put this dark green shimmer here because I don't think it's similar to anything. But there it is. For the shades that I thought were similar, which is this green, this shade here, that shade, it's still a little dark. But for the shades that I thought were close, it is pretty darn close. What do you guys think? Okay, moving on. Oh, I also wanted to compare it to a couple shades in the Lucky, Just My Luck palette from Colourpop. I really don't feel like it's that similar. Like, there's a lot different. But I'm just going to pick and choose. Okay, this green I thought of was similar to this shade up here. Oh my goodness, the shimmers in this are just so much nicer. I know I haven't really shared a review or like my initial first thoughts of the Colourpop Mandalorian palette yet, but my initial first thoughts were not, I mean, it was nice, but I just wasn't blown away by it, especially the shimmers. The shimmers I thought, and the shimmers I used today in this look were really soft and kind of sad. I guess this one I didn't really need to swatch because there isn't one like it, but like look how nice they swatch. I feel like they swatched a lot nicer than the Colourpop one did. Not that it was a bad, but it was just so soft and like a buildable formula, which I guess, I mean, some people like buildable, but that just took me by surprise. Like I said, this is the first palette I bought since like the 3 I bought from Colourpop last year. So anyway, what else was I gonna do? These two I think were the only other two. I will say though, the Just My Luck I did not like. I think it was this green one or the brown one. I can't remember. I think it was that dark green one, or maybe it was the brown one. That doesn't look very great, but there we have it. Okay, so now that I swatched it, really the only similar shades I would say are these two and maybe these two, and that's it. So not a whole lot similar there. All right, let's keep it moving. Another palette I wanted to swatch it against is this one from Rimmel. This is the Magnif'eyes Jewel Rock Edition. This actually, I was looking at it and there is a little bit in here, a few that I was like, it's kind of similar. Maybe it will give you the same vibe, so I'm gonna swatch it. We're gonna swatch all the way up to here because after that there really isn't anything similar, and then also this one because it's a little bit of that same tone as this one I'm thinking, so let's swatch. So we're gonna put this here. Put these two shimmers next to it. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but this definitely has that greeny gold shift to it, kind of like that shade. And then we have this brown I'll stick here. There isn't really a shade like it because that has a lot of peach in it. And then this is the brown shimmer I'm going to stick down here. It's hard to swatch because my finger doesn't really fit, or hard to pick up a swatch because my finger doesn't really fit into the pan. Okay, and then we're going to stick the next three, or the last three I should say, here. Then we have this shade, which reminded me of that one. Like I said, it's so hard to pick it up because my fingers don't fit that well. And then we're going to stick this one right here too, just to see. Yeah, it's a lot darker, so it's not really very similar, but I just wanted to check and see. So there it is. Like I said, what do you guys think? I feel like there are just those colors that could dupe it or just give you the same vibes as this palette. Oh, you know what? What am I doing, Katie? This shade does really remind me of that peachy shade there. Let me go ahead and swatch that one too. Now I think this is definitely a lot more pinky peach than the one in the Mandalorian, and I've already filled up the swatch, so we're just gonna stick it down here. I'm so sorry. But that's actually really close. What was I thinking? Why did I skip that one? Yeah, that is not that far off. This from the Colourpop has a lot more, or a little bit more brown to the peach, whereas this I feel like is just straight peach, but still, if you're working it with these other colors, it would probably end up looking pretty darn similar. So there are those comparisons. Okay, I did go ahead and touch up a couple of the swatches, mostly up here because they were getting a little bit hazy. But next I'm going to compare this palette to the Kaleidos Futurism 1 Sci-Fi Greens palette. This one is, again, I think just going to be a big difference in saturation because the Kaleidos is just so much more intense, and you will find that to be the case. But I'm just going to take the ones that I think are similar. I'm not going to swatch the black because I obviously know there's no black in the Colourpop one. Okay, let's see. We're going to put this one here. Definitely not peachy, definitely more of a terracotta brown, maybe terracotta orangey brown, I don't know, or orangey yellow, but anyway. And then I'm going to put the gold shimmer. Let's see, we have two of them. I'm going to stick this one, which is like a true gold here, and then this other one, which is like a dirty gold here. Not super close. And then I'm going to stick the brown mattes down here. Let me make sure I stay in frame. I feel like I'm dipping. Oh, those two mattes are just so nice. But there is that. So definitely I feel like if we're going on similar shades, really the only matte greens I feel like, but still the vibe of it, like the feeling for the Colourpop one is there with the Kaleidos. The Kaleidos is just a lot more intensely saturated and fewer shades, of course. Okay, I feel like I had to do this. Again, I don't see that much similarity because the saturation in this one is just so much more than the Colourpop, but this is the Melt Gemini palette. I just feel like I have to because when you kind of look at it, there are those shades that like the greens are similar, but then it also has a little bit of the warmth of down here. Again, just a touch. This one isn't that dead on, but I want to swatch it, so I'm just going to pick, let's see, the similar ones. Swatch it. So there is that one. I think it's Fire OG and Leo. Leo always swatches so bad. Even from the first time I ever got it, it swatches horribly. And it doesn't work. You can definitely tell that one is like the weak link in the palette, but it performs okay. And then we have the brown we're going to stick down here. Ooh, those two are pretty similar. I give those two a similar look, or like a similar dupeler, whatever you want to call it. Those two, yeah, definitely aren't close. And let's put this one here. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want more intense saturation than this one, those two are actually fairly similar. And I'll put this one down here. Yeah, not really similar, but there is the comparisons, the shades I picked to compare from the Gemini palette from Melt Cosmetics. Okay, two more. I'm getting tired, y'all. This is the Juicy Olive palette from Gimme Glow. Not too much in here. I feel like it's super close, but I want to swatch the mattes next to these mattes and then that one. So the only one I'm not doing is Garnish, just because it's not even vaguely close. Okay, so we're gonna put this here. Definitely a lot more vibrant. This is Dirty Martini. Then we have Cocktails I'm gonna put next to this one. Those are not too far off. Then we have Dirty Martini right above that. And then the last one I have is Vodka. I guess I'm just gonna put it here. There isn't too much in here that is super duper close. My arm's getting so heavy, I feel like I'm swatching very low. But let's go ahead and put this one right there. Oh, the intensity and color in that shimmer is amazing. But we have one last palette. We're on our last one. It is the Avocado palette from I Heart Revolution, or Tasty Avocado, my bad. This palette, there are those tones though in it that really do remind me of the Colourpop, so I want to go ahead and swatch them. And there are just so many shades in here. I don't know how I'm gonna fit them all close to each other, but let's go row by row, that way I don't miss any. For this row, I'm gonna pick Toasty to compare with this shade, Avocado for that shade there. We're gonna do California for that shade. I'm gonna pass on Smoothie. I'm gonna get half for that shade. Okay, so this shade, what I say, Toasty, I'm gonna compare up here. Okay, that's a lot more brown. Then this one is Avo. I'm going to compare right there. Oh, a lot more intense. Then we got the California. A lot more of like a dirty gold than the other one. And then last up, I have half, which I'm gonna put right here. Those two aren't too far off. Okay, so for this next row, I'm gonna also, gonna grab, let's see, Haas, Guacamole, Green Gold, and then I'm gonna skip on, well, I'm gonna also grab Stone. I don't think Stone will be that close to this, but we're going to just check. Taking 4 from each. All right, we're gonna put this one right here, just in case I wanna stick something in between there. Then I'm gonna take this, which is Guacamole. Where should I put this? I guess I'm gonna stick it there because I just touched it down. I was gonna put the dirty golds there. I'll put them right up here. And then we have Green Gold and Stone. Oh yeah, Stone is definitely not similar, but I'll grab Pear and Seed, I guess. Those are really the only two. Lime isn't in there. That one's not in there. Yeah, we'll grab those two and that'll be it for that row. So let's see. Pear, we'll stick it up here. Even though I think this most closely goes with that shade. And then the brown I'll just put right, I'll put it right here. Even though I was comparing it for that shade up there. But again, not very close. I really hope I wasn't sliding out of frame. My arm hurts from holding it up. But here they are. So yeah, this palette, there definitely is a lot more shades. But even swatching the similar shades, I don't really think they're that close. Maybe you could dupe the vibe. I definitely think these are close. These are close. And this is close-ish enough, so you could get some looks that were similar, but it's got a lot more brightness to it, whereas the Colourpop I feel has a lot more grunge. So yeah, those are all the palettes. I'm gonna wipe off this arm for the last time. Okay, so now that my arm is nice and stained and I got makeup on my sleeve because I'm a mess, we are officially done. Those are all the palettes that I wanted to swatch and compare against the Colourpop and Mandalorian palette. Or I guess it's called Colourpop's times Star Wars Mandalorian The Child. I don't know what it's called. This palette right here. I will say packaging wise is really, really nice. The last couple of palettes I got from them were those plastic ones that I'm not a super big fan of, so it's been a while since I got the cardboard. They've definitely improved their packaging and just like the feel of it. There's a very like NARS feel to this. It's a little bit raised. It has some shiny parts of it. Everything about this is really nice and plush. But yeah, those are the swatches, and that is about the video. Like I said, I am going to go ahead and include the tutorial, but I'm just going to be sticking it at the end, and that's going to be my outro. I'll put some music and you guys can just watch, and at the end it'll go to my end card. But I do want to, before we dive into that, give you guys a little bit of information on my first impressions. I do like the look, and I didn't have any like big issues. There weren't any like, oh, I took the little thingy off. There weren't any patching areas or whatnot, but I definitely felt like I kind of mentioned already, there was a softness to this whole palette. I took the Little Frog first, which is this shade here with the glitter in it, which is so very annoying, but I took that shade first, and it took a lot of times like back and forth to build it up. So in that respect, I was a little surprised. I went on with this on the outer corner. I thought that performed very nice. It's not as deep and dark as maybe I would like, but it gives depth, so that's what I was looking for. I think the biggest shocker for me with this look is that the shimmers, which I used these two on the lid, I used this in the inner corner, and then I actually tapped this over at the very end, so I used all the shimmers, but the shimmers are just so subtle, which when you guys saw me swatch, what was it, the Just My Luck palette, like the shimmers in here, most of them, maybe not all of them, but like they're just so intense, and then comparing it and thinking about this formula to this now, they're just so very soft. Like there's nothing metallic about it, and even I feel like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, maybe this has some color to it. Most of them don't have a lot of color. They just have a little wash of color, and honestly, like the formula and the way these look on my eyes remind me a lot of the OFRA Empowered palette, and just how soft of a shimmer it is. So something I wanted to note, for me that's a little bit disappointing, because I definitely do like that intense metallic look to their previous palettes, but if you don't like that look, maybe this is a good thing for you to hear. But I definitely wanted to address it because it did catch me by surprise. But also keep in mind, this is my very first time using it. So yeah, with all that said, let's go ahead and just close out this video with a tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.